The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where we come to you at the appointed time. It's the second time this week that it has failed. I'm not exactly sure why. This thing, you have to just load it, exit it, and load it again to get the appointed and sacred time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So, what are we doing here today? Well, options expiration, one of the largest options expiration of all time. Just the move yesterday changed the output for market makers and options by about $500 million. I'm thinking we're probably doing somewhere around $400 million right now in options payouts. We had a ton of people all being extremely bullish in the market. We also had a bunch of people short maybe 50 stocks in the market, but those 50 stocks were all the stocks that drove the indexes disproportionately. We showed in the newsletter, and actually I think on the show, was it yesterday or Wednesday, that we had a lot of action in the small caps, and many people were doing anything to get out of them on Wednesday. That was kind of the first clue. Yesterday, we had a 1 in 1,000-day low in the put-call ratio for the VIX at 16%. That meant 84% of people that were buying out of the money options for today were buying calls. That's a pretty good indication that those folks are going to be wrong when that many people are on the opposite, or literally on the one side of the rowboat. It doesn't take much of a wave to put them all in the water. So what's going on right now? Well, basically 405 is kind of light support. We had risk all the way down to 401. 405 seems to be holding. I suspect it has a lot to do with those highly shorted stocks like Apple and a handful of others. My guess, though, is from watching the movement since about noon, is that they're, at least for the SPYs, the ideal number for them now would be about 405 to pin this going into the weekend. Anything less than 405 makes them more money. So we can take a look at it, but you know, you've got two things. You got a lot of people short stocks like Apple, other stocks like that. In fact, somebody brought up in the den AutoZone. Oh, you got to talk about J.P. Morgan also doing evil, but who didn't believe that they were doing evil before? This is just an unspeakable evil. AN, one of the big movers today. But again, I warn a lot of people about being short, massively shorted stocks. AutoNation had 9 days to cover. And if you're new to the market or anything else, that means that if you just took the average volume for the last 30 days and you just took all the shorts, how many days would it take on that average volume to get the shorts out of that stock? And in this case, 9 days, and literally no one else would have to do something else. I remember that, what is it, Bonnie Raitt? Well, it wasn't Bonnie Raitt. Bonnie something. Total Eclipse of the Heart. She's talking in the song about she's walking around powder kegs and giving off sparks. That's kind of what happens with these. When you look at the daily short numbers, they were all around 20-25%. I do not like the odds against that. Not so much that AutoNation's really doing well, because I don't think they are. I looked through the earnings. But it doesn't matter. They really have to disappoint. And when they don't, they're going to take people that are way over the tips of their skis and clean their clocks before they go the other way. So you got a big move. Were they really doing that well? No. But we shall see. In the next few days, I would not be surprised. Again, I always like to think that if you're on the wrong side of a trade, it's going to be at least 3 days before they let you out. It is rare that they let people out of the wrong side of a position on something like that with 9 days to cover. So that's part of it. J.P. Morgan, we now find more stuff coming out about Epstein, and they knew it, and when they knew it, and what went on with that. Of course, they're part of the big media industrial complex. Probably half the people at ABC, CBS, NBC, and the rest have money invested somewhere through their evil tentacles. So maybe we get a lot of it, maybe we didn't. I did see at least a couple of reports out here today that they did know. You got 170 or 180 people that's names are out. About 32 of them are going to be directly implicated in despicable deeds that we all know about. Not exactly sure who those people are. I've been busy trading. But don't be surprised that they're burying this in a long weekend. The old document dump, as I've brought to the front, to try to minimize the blowback on this as everybody goes into a 3-day weekend. Does it happen? I mean, they've got such ultimate control of money. What happens? I don't know. The big thing is there's some lawsuits, and that may drag a lot more people out on that. But, you would hope, wouldn't you? You would just hope that it would cost somebody a little bit more for doing stuff that they know that they shouldn't have been doing. 877-927-6648. So, and also you can email me at path@tfnn.com. Other things going on, questions about Tesla. You can just probably pick out the biggest number around a lot of these stocks, and they're just going to pin them today. There is so much money out here that you've got to look at what could and could not. But I'm thinking the problem, well, I'll run it during the break, but I think when I was looking at this morning, it looked more like 205-ish would kill off the most amount of options at the end of the day, which is really what options expiration is for the most part. They want to try to keep as much money as they can in their coffers, and by coming out with very dubious news articles about upgrades and downgrades. I did a survey, and it was backed up by another one about how upgrades and downgrades in the last 2 days before options expiration run at about twice the rate of any other day in the month. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom OBrien is here to help. Tom OBrien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom OBrien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom OBrien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we had a first question from John today asking what's going on, why I am more on the bearish camp than on the bullish camp, and thinking we have maybe one more little bounce before we head lower. This is the Baltic Dry Index. This is a price that ships charged to carry bulk goods around the world, and that kind of tells you everything, doesn't it? If there's a certain amount of ships, and when they have more ships than goods to ship, price goes down. And that is generally a pretty good indication of industrial throughput, i.e. if they're not getting iron delivered to them or all the other stuff or wheat or everything else, that's a pretty good sign of a imploding economy when you see that. A lot of people would say inflation's going to come down. The problem is it really hasn't, as far as I could tell, broke. But if there is a few things to be thinking about, I think when we look at things like this and the credit card numbers we've seen this week, I think we continue to see irrational exuberance and people thinking that it's all over and we can only go higher. 877-927-6648. Do we have anything here? Bonnie Tyler. I knew it was Bonnie something. You don't hear a lot of Bonnies lately. Seems like women's names a lot for kids now are closer to stripper names. But, I guess I haven't had to name one in a while. So anyway, we were talking about Tesla. It's still hanging above its level, but wouldn't be surprised at about 205 for today. Again, when everybody's short, just go take an aspirin and lay down. Can you make money on them? Yeah. But, you've got to have such a compelling case and perfect entry times for stuff like that. It is just very tough. How likely is the ES to tag 200 EMA? On today, I don't look at that at all. I look at the SPYs, and right now everything seems to keep pulling inwards to around 405. What are we at now? Yeah, 405.71. And we may just be a little high on that side, and that is because of the 7,000 tradable stocks with more than 300,000 shares a day. What do we have? Well, we've got 50, 60 stocks, and a lot of people were looking for them to go lower. Other things out there before the bell, we had Deere has a nice little bounce out here today with some decent volume. They're violating a lot of laws right now, and I think they're going to get their hands caught in the cookie jar. But for the most part, this wasn't some kind of horrible earnings story or massive shorts. It really is their ability to go out there and extract as much money from farmers as possible. Other things going on here today that we wanted to look at. We've got a lot of earnings coming up. And I'm thinking that some of this action may be a forbearing of issues next week. Before the bell on Tuesday, we have Walmart, which isn't looking good already. The only good thing is that you did have almost a test of the previous low of January 20th on lighter volume, so that's the good part. The bad part is you haven't really bounced that much. Continue to see a lot of products out of stock when I go there. Homeless Despot, the old HD. I always call companies some kind of slang, generally derogatory. Not good stuff. On Home Depot. It's kind of hanging around the lows too. You did get a little closer to a low on about the same volume on February 10th. You're not doing much out here today. Just the housing market, everybody seems to be kind of whistling past the graveyard on that. I think you just have a lot more tone. Now on Tuesday night, we'll get a little bit better read on actual housing with Toll Brothers. And again, I think we've had a lot of people way too short this, and I think it's well overblown. They may still be way too short on this. Came down today on average volume so far. Not much going on there. PANW, back up to the previous highs. Decent volume. My guess is things are still going well for this one. I haven't looked at short interest on this. Why don't we do that real quick and see what these guys are doing real quick. Okay. PAW. Well, they've got a lot of shorts. Probably an average of the last week, about 25%. On the bi-monthly, they have about 5 days to cover. So I would say even if they just do average, they're probably going to hit 188. So there's a TJ Maxx. What's that? TJX. Take a quick look. Okay, it's kind of hanging around at the highs. What's up there? TJX. Type correctly. Okay, very almost no short sellers in this on the dailies with about a little less than 2 days to cover. This would be one that if you were thinking about shorting, at least you don't have to worry about massive amounts of short sellers. You got a big gap down there about 72. When I've gone by their stores and I haven't been in them, there haven't been a lot of people in them around here. Which reminds me of Alta, which we haven't looked at this week, which continues higher. Even today, it gapped higher. Yeah, the lines around the block, as I've said down here. And you know what? Sometimes those lines around the block, stuff that you see, maybe better than chart patterns out here, but I haven't seen any let up at all for the people going to them around here. And we have a lot of women that are, down here to retire. They spend maybe a little bit more than the average bear on makeup and other kinds of stuff like that. But man, I haven't seen anything yet that said to short this one yet. But when it does, probably nice gap down there around 470. 877-927-6648.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, JDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And one of the emails out there is asking what I think of the weakness in the XLE. Even though China has pushed forward, I think you have to look at that Baltic Dry Index and see that there's probably not a lot of hope in the next 5 minutes coming. And, of course, most of the demand from China over there is that's showing you that there is a great deal of weakness. I think a lot of people thought that the Fed could go through a thunderstorm because they've got a 747 and not feel a few bumps. And, you never know what China's up to, but certainly they've got to slow down. They had about 100 million jobs move out for assembly of products like Apple iPhones and move to India and others, other countries, Vietnam and that kind of stuff. So maybe they're not as strong as they used to be. I also hear a lot lately about China and the real estate market is about ready to do a Lehman or a double Lehman or a triple Lehman, a triple Lindy. Yeah, a triple Lindy Lehman. So you never know what's going on out there. But I think when you look at the big trends out there like that, like the dollar, that kind of stuff, you start saying that you're probably looking at the problems right here in River City. And that begins with T and ends with T and has an L in between it. We've been looking for the test of at least 101. We got that today in a little bit of bounce. Energy about the same up and down on the TLT for volume. But as I'm looking at it here, 10 million shares down today. The gap up actually, the last gap up had 4.5 million shares. The last gap down had 20. So it's kind of hard to figure out which ones are there. But that double gap, which came in right at just a little under 101, got tapped today. The volume isn't huge. But remember, the Fed's job is not to make the stock market go to the moon. Fed's job is to let the air out of the balloon, the Chinese balloon, slowly. Triple Bear Stearns. How do we make money the old-fashioned way? At Dean Winter, we steal it. Okay, other things going on out here. We looked at that. By talking about Chinese, and I saw a lot of news about maybe some stocks, but since I don't trade Chinese stocks for the reason that I don't want to wake up and find out that they're worthless one day because we're at war with China, which is every day looking a little bit more likely. Baidu out to do next Thursday morning. And you have a big gap down today on no volume. I don't know if that means a lot other than just responding to the market. mRNA also Thursday morning next week. It's already broke below the lows. You've got a lot of people, Mark Twain used to say, a lie can go around the world twice before the truth comes out the front door. I think there's a lot of more problems coming out from a lot of these industrial big, the industrial vaccine complex. You had a gap down today. But certainly some of the lawsuits, you already had a couple of Asian countries. I know Taiwan, and I can't remember the other one, that are breaking deals with these folks now, that maybe the results were not as perfect as the wind-driven snow that these companies actually said that they were. So they're going to be dropping at least in a handful of companies. I think Germany is next, and of course home to Pfizer. So there may be some more of that. And of course, not industrial, but congressional and state investigations into what did they know and when did they know it. As I've said before, a couple of weeks ago, I think this is going to be the year of the red pill for the stock market, where a lot of the stuff that these guys got away with for years is going to come to light, and it won't be that attractive. Got a question about that. Anyway, oil stocks at the weakness of things like the Baltic Dry Index, probably earthquakes maybe in the financial system of China. Generally, you know that there's something out there. You're just not exactly sure what it is. It is a little foggy. But, again, I'm thinking that maybe we've got another maybe we get our little pullback down here. Maybe we get down to 39.50 or so on the S&P cash or something in the next few days. Then we try to push up into the end of the month. And if we don't have something that breaks through that around 41.50 area on the S&P cash, That will set up a bunch of double repo patterns for me. And those are the ones that you want to watch out for, because those are the ones where you can make life-changing money or lose life-changing money in those patterns. They don't work all the time, but they do work so many, a high percentage of the time, that it's what I look for. And you get a couple of those a year, you're going to have an extremely good year. But have a lot of setups. We're starting to see the first part of the pullback, then a push higher. Doesn't quite get there. Volume drops out. The next move lower is generally when the rats start leaving the ship. Sheep? That would be weird. Okay, other things. Anyway, now Thursday night next week, we have Square. And, you know, it should be doing better than it is. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. Could be bullish or bearish. I just don't have a lot of visibility into it. I haven't spent a great deal of time looking at it, but I'm kind of interested in why it does that. Bookings.com. This is one where you really, you know, when I look at the rest of the other companies that everybody was pushing on us over the last couple of weeks in travel, we may be setting up for a nice pullback. On this one, it could come back to 2,200. But I like the drop on Expedia's earnings. The gap down, that was on the 10th. EXPE, let's see how this is doing. But this is like a lot of stocks. And that is, you get a horrible report. Everybody tells you that the report wasn't horrible. And guess what? You're right back down to where the February 10th disappointment was for earnings today in Expedia. But we're seeing a lot more like that. Question about Apple today. As far as I can tell, it's hard. There's too many shorts in Apple for me to get a big reading or an accurate reading. In fact, let's take a quick look at here. 406. We're actually getting a little bit more of a push higher than I thought we would. We never really broke through the 405 as we should to blow it out. 877-927-6648.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And as we come back, we got a couple more. No, I don't think the wheels fall off the wagon. Maybe we have a pullback first part of next week. I think maybe we could go up first part of March and not get back up to those highs that we had just this last week. And that would show that the juice is pretty much out of the market. But, I'm not predicting the end of times. The end is nigh just yet. That pattern would take another probably 7 to 15 days to set up. But some of the worst selling in the markets has happened from around the first week of March into the first week of May. And a lot of the stuff setting up here is going to be good trading, especially intraday. But I think if we're going to start a new trend, I'm either going to be incredibly right or incredibly wrong. But that's probably going to be the first week of March. Okay, let's see. I've got a call for.
I like Chinese.
Yeah, okay. I also like Monty Python too. So no, I don't dislike the Chinese people. I just know their government and how they act. I mean, somebody asked me something else here, and that is, what do I think happens tomorrow in Canada? And, you have a decision where literally they could kick the prime minister out tomorrow if the ruling goes against him. And he used his powers for evil, which I believe he did. I'm just wondering if anybody has the guts to actually do that in Canada. But, whether he's in there now or the next whatever, certainly the polls look like there's no way that he's getting reelected. But that's Trudeau. But we shall see. But I think I think we're going to know tomorrow afternoon. So you may want to see that if you've got any trades on Canada going on. But that's it. 877-927-6648. Okay. You down with CCP? Okay, yeah. Everybody getting the 90s house music, rap music references in on a Friday here. So the question is, what do I think about the volume today? It is not big for an options expiration day here. With an hour and 15 minutes left, we're only doing a little over 7 billion shares. So even down today, not all that much volume, but the up volume hasn't been that much either. That's why I say you could bounce around a little bit. I would love to see maybe a pullback to 39.50, a push back up to maybe 40.80, maybe 4100, and just have no volume there. And that would be a pretty good sign, maybe in the first week of March, that we're getting ready for the big master flush. Now, lots of things can change. The Fed could change its ways. They've already kind of been wishy-washy each way, and talking the market up and down to suit their needs. And the market does seem to be reacting to it. If you just look at the charts, forget the Fed. As far as I can tell, it doesn't look good. Down 20 points on the S&P cash at the moment. Let's see what else we have here. Autodesk next Thursday, as we said, gap down. I don't know if that means a lot going into earnings or not. Do we do MELI, M-E-L-I, also next Thursday night? We don't have a lot to hang our hat on next week. I think these earnings, mostly on Thursday, are going to say what Friday ends up being for the week. Yeah, you're just kind of pulled back. You don't have much volume today, but I think it's more about earnings on these. So that's a little bit of this. Naughty by nature, yeah. Boy. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, wanted to look at some other stuff going on. Let's do this on the old S&P. Now, I don't know. Is it interest rates going higher? This is one of the ugliest candles that you can find in the market for a company that should be doing better than this. When they came out with earnings and they were showing exactly how much stuff they were pushing. ALB, of course, is the lithium miners of Chile. But man, talk about an ugly engulfing candle. That's playing Pac-Man on that last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. What a wide-ranging candle out here, and what could make people sell something that is one of the toughest things to get right now. So if anybody has any ideas, give me a call, 877-927-6648, or email me at Path. I haven't had a chance to look at a lot of this stuff either. Of course, EOG is a little bit easier to see on natural gas and why it has its problems. The double gap down about 114, 113 looks to where this is going to bottom out. As big as this gap down is in the EOG, the volume is not anything to write home about. You've got about 4.2 billion shares on the October 3rd bounce higher. Today, you're kind of getting into that volume, but it's not blowing it away on such a big gap away. So that's kind of going on there. Halliburton down 5. All these energy stocks are just reacting, I suspect, to a lot of the geopolitical moves. You had one of the funniest, to me, upgrades this week on GNRC, Generac, from, I guess it was yesterday. Man, did they run all the shorts out just before the turnaround out here yesterday. But you have a lot of resistance up to about, what is that, 145-ish? Yeah, almost 150. You came back in, you ran a lot of the shorts out from this gap down on October 19th. And again, I think you're going to have a lot more in the way of lower rates in housing, which I don't think you're going to get. But maybe on Toll Brothers, maybe on something like that, we're going to have a little bit more on Generac as far as color next week. On the winners, and of course, I want to be called Deacon Blues. Deere, which we already talked about at the top. Lumina, OGN, we haven't. Let's take a quick look at that before we leave for the day. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tigers Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tigers Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And had last question from Guy about gold out here. As I said, I think it was on Monday with Steve Rhodes. Said the only thing I really disliked is that you did gap down and you had some volume on the third. And generally when you come down and it's not all nice like that and pretty, kind of reminds me of, rolling down the river. It's not easy. We made it rough. Well, when it's rough and you got volume, I'm looking for more of a U bottom than a V bottom. So I would say continued belief in that, yeah, you probably have something down here, but just figure it's going to be a U bottom. So maybe just take a few days and wait for it to come in. It may be there today. It may just be that you're not going to get any better price for a week. And, you know, it's much better to buy at a slightly higher price on one of these that came down with light volume or have, well, decent gap downs than to stick your neck out and get kind of worried. And then you start selling for a lower pop than what this is probably going to have. So I just wait until Tuesday and see how you feel then. I don't see any reason to stick my neck out this weekend with crude being down and gold being flat. It's probably okay. It's just I don't see a lot of risk reward. I would love for gold, and especially the GDX, to just go sideways and drive everybody nuts for a couple of weeks. I'm pretty good at patience. Most people aren't. And as Warren Buffett says, stock market's a mechanism for giving money from the impatient to the patient. It's going to be a lot of patience, I think, over the next 2 weeks before we start some kind of bigger trend in the market. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to, and hang on for Tom OBrien to wrap up another big week in the markets.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.